My wife asked for a divorce and I was thrilled, but days later she regretted everything. What happened next changed my life forever, and no, I didn't take her back. Here's what I learned about peace. I'm not sure what people expect when their wife asks for a divorce. Maybe panic, maybe heartbreak, maybe denial. I felt none of those things. I felt relief. I felt like someone had finally opened a window in a room I'd been suffocating in for years. Her name is Rachel. We've been married for 11 years. We have 2 kids, Eli, who's 9, and Sophie, who just turned 6. We live in a suburb outside of Columbus, Ohio. I work in logistics for a regional distribution company. Rachel's a dental hygienist. On paper, we were fine. We had a decent house, 2 cars, a dog named Murphy, and matching Christmas pajamas every year. But I hadn't felt like her husband in a long time. I'd felt like her roommate, her co-parent, her assistant, her emotional punching bag. She told me she wanted a divorce on a Tuesday night. I remember because I'd just come home from work and was microwaving leftover lasagna. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said, "I think we should get divorced." I looked at her, waiting for the rest, some explanation, some accusation, but she just stood there, arms crossed, like she was daring me to argue. I didn't. I said, "Okay." She blinked, like she hadn't expected that. I didn't say anything else. I ate my lasagna. She went upstairs. That was it. The next few days were weirdly peaceful. She didn't bring it up again. I didn't either. We still did the usual stuff, packed lunches, drove the kids to school, folded laundry. But something had shifted. I felt lighter. I started sleeping better. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes to see if she was mad about something. I even started humming in the car again. I hadn't done that in years. I think she noticed. She started acting strange. Not angry, just off. She'd linger in the kitchen longer than usual. She'd ask me random questions about my day, like she was trying to start a conversation but didn't know how. I answered politely but didn't engage. I didn't want to give her mixed signals. She wanted a divorce. I was giving her space to follow through. I told my brother about it over beers that Friday. He was shocked. "You okay?" he asked. I said I was more than okay. I told him I felt like I'd been let out of prison. He laughed, but I wasn't joking. I hadn't realized how much of myself I'd lost in that marriage. Rachel used to be fun. She used to laugh at my dumb jokes and dance in the kitchen. Somewhere along the way, she became someone else. Critical, cold, always tired, always annoyed. I tried to fix things. I suggested therapy. I planned date nights. I read articles about emotional labor and tried to be more supportive. Nothing worked. She always seemed disappointed in me, like I was failing some invisible test. So when she said she wanted out, I figured she'd finally admitted what we both knew, it wasn't working. I didn't hate her. I just didn't love her anymore. Not in the way you're supposed to love your wife. I loved her like you love an old friend you've grown apart from. You wish them well, but you don't want to spend every day with them. The kids didn't know yet. We agreed to wait until we had a plan. I started looking at apartments. Nothing fancy, just something close enough to still do school drop-offs. I even started imagining what my new life might look like. Maybe I'd finally take that woodworking class I'd been putting off. Maybe I'd get a cat. Maybe I'd just sit in silence for a while and remember what it felt like to be alone without being lonely. Then, on Sunday morning, Rachel asked if I wanted to go for a walk. That was unusual. We hadn't gone on a walk together in months. So sure. We walked around the neighborhood, past the same houses we'd passed 1,000 times. She didn't say much. I didn't either. Then she stopped and looked at me. "You're not upset," she said. I shrugged. "I guess I'm not." She nodded slowly, like she was trying to process that. "I thought you'd fight me on it," she said. I didn't respond. What was there to say? That night she made dinner. Not just reheated leftovers, actual dinner. Grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, even a salad with homemade dressing. She poured me a glass of wine. I didn't know what to make of it. I thanked her. She smiled, but it looked forced. The next day, she texted me at work. Just a simple, "Hope your day's going okay." That was new. She hadn't texted me just to check in for years. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. I didn't want to read into it. By Wednesday, she was acting like nothing had happened. She laughed at something I said about the dog. She asked if I wanted to watch a movie. I said I was tired. She looked disappointed. I didn't care. I was already mentally gone. I'd started packing up some of my stuff, books, tools, old photo albums. I didn't hide it. She saw the boxes in the garage. She didn't say anything. Then, on Thursday night, she came into the living room while I was watching a game. She sat down next to me, closer than usual. "I've been thinking," she said. I muted the TV. She looked nervous. "Maybe we rushed into this," she said. I didn't respond. She kept going. "I don't know. Maybe we should try again. Maybe we just needed a wake-up call." I stared at her. She looked serious. Her eyes were watery. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not hope. Just nothing. I told her I'd think about it. She nodded like that was enough. But I already knew. I wasn't going back. I couldn't. Something had broken, and I didn't want to fix it. I didn't even want to pretend to fix it. I wanted out. I wanted peace. I wanted to remember who I was before I became someone she didn't even like. I didn't sleep much that night. Not because I was conflicted, but because I was trying to figure out how to say no without sounding cruel. Rachel wasn't a bad person. She was just someone I didn't want to be married to anymore. I kept thinking about all the times I tried to reach her over the years, how many conversations ended in silence, how many compromises felt one-sided, how many moments I'd swallowed my own needs just to keep the peace. I wasn't angry. I was tired. And I didn't want to spend the rest of my life tired. The next morning, I told her I appreciated what she said, but I didn't think getting back together was the right move. I said it calmly. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't list grievances. I just told her I didn't feel the same way anymore. She stared at me for a long time, like she was trying to find something in my face that would contradict my words. Then she nodded. She didn't cry. She didn't argue. She just said, okay. But I could tell it wasn't okay. That weekend she was quiet. Not cold, just quiet. She moved through the house like a ghost. I took the kids to the park on Saturday. She didn't come. I made dinner on Sunday. She barely touched it. I think she was hoping I'd change my mind. I didn't. I'd already signed a lease on a small apartment 10 minutes away. I was moving out the following weekend. I told her on Monday. She nodded again. That was becoming her default response. I think she was trying not to fall apart in front of me. The kids took it harder than I expected. Eli cried when I told him. Sophie didn't understand. She kept asking if I was going on a trip. I tried to explain it gently, but there's no gentle way to tell your children that their parents don't love each other anymore. Rachel and I agreed to split custody evenly. I'd have them every other week. I bought bunk beds for the new place. I stocked the fridge with their favorite snacks. I tried to make it feel like home. The first night in the apartment was strange. It was quiet. Too quiet. I sat on the couch and stared at the wall for a long time. I wasn't sad. I wasn't happy. I was just alone. And that was okay. I didn't miss Rachel. I missed the idea of a family. I missed the version of us that existed in old photos and holiday cards. But I knew that version was gone. It had been gone for a long time. Rachel called me 3 days later. She said she missed me. I said I missed the kids. She asked if I'd come over for dinner. I said I didn't think that was a good idea. She got quiet. Then she said, I made a mistake. I didn't respond. She said it again. I made a mistake. I told her I didn't think she did. I think she said what she meant, and now she was scared of the consequences. She didn't argue. She just said, I wish you'd fought for us. I told her I did. For years. She didn't say anything after that. Over the next few weeks, she kept reaching out. Little things. A text about the kids' school project. A photo of Murphy sleeping on the couch. A link to an article she thought I'd like. I responded when it was about the kids. I ignored the rest. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was trying to move on. She wasn't making it easy. One night, she showed up at my apartment. I hadn't invited her. The kids were with me that week. She said she just wanted to talk. I let her in. She looked around like she was seeing a version of me she didn't recognize. I'd hung up some old concert posters. I had a record player going. The place smelled like cedar and coffee. She said, you seem different. I said, I feel different. She sat down. The kids were asleep. She asked if I was seeing anyone. I said no. She looked relieved. I didn't know why. Then she said something I didn't expect. She said, I think I was trying to punish you. I asked what she meant. She said, I thought if I left, you'd realize how much you needed me. I thought you'd beg me to stay. I thought you'd finally change. I didn't know what to say. She kept going. But you didn't. You got happier. You got lighter. And I realized maybe I was the problem. I told her she wasn't the problem. We were the problem. Together. She nodded. She looked like she wanted to cry but didn't. She asked if there was any chance we could try again. I said no. Not because I hated her. Not because I wanted to hurt her. But because I'd finally found peace and I wasn't willing to give that up. She stayed for a little while longer. We talked about the kids. About the house. About the holidays. Then she left. I watched her walk down the hallway, and I felt a strange mix of sadness and relief. Sadness for what we'd lost. Relief for what I'd gained. It's been 6 months now. The kids are adjusting. I'm adjusting. Rachel and I are civil. We co-parent well. We don't fight. We don't pretend. Sometimes she still texts me late at night. I don't respond. I think she's still grieving the version of us she thought we could be. I'm not. I'm finally learning how to be myself again. And that's something I won't give up. Not for her. Not for anyone. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this.